sorry I changed everybody's schedule around. But thanks for being here. Hope everybody enjoyed the talk last night. My first one, hopefully of many. Yesterday was a pretty exciting day for me. I'd never done that before. My whole plan is we've got 60 days now in session to, move the state in the right path. Everything I'm focused on is jobs, is get the state back to work. We still have over 1 million Floridians out of work. So my budget's a jobs budget. The proposals I have are all proposals that are hopefully going to get our state back to work. Today we also, as you saw at the cabinet meeting, we had a clemency meeting. So we enacted some tough new rules for convicted felons. I think it's a step forward for their rights. It's, as we know, it's a permanent loss of civil rights as part of the debt owed to society. And so it's a privilege to get those rights back. So, but most importantly, my whole focus, and I'm going to put a lot of effort every day over the next 60 days to get the budget passed and get the bills that we propose passed. So I can answer anybody's question.
Governor, DOT released a report today saying that high-speed rail would have actually made money, $10 million in 2016. Given that, did you act prematurely on high-speed rail? I had been briefed on their ridership study, and I've looked at other ridership studies. I'm still very comfortable with the decision I made that I don't want the taxpayers of the state on the hook for the cost overruns of building it, the operating cost, or giving the money back if it's shut down.
Governor, what do you say to the people who are concerned, people who are unemployed, who are concerned about the possible cuts to unemployment benefits that's going through the House right now?
Well, as you know, my focus is on jobs. My focus is how do we get our state back to work, and part of what I'm doing is doing every day focused on talking to companies about coming here, or companies here expanding, and also focused on making sure that we don't raise the cost for the companies that's still in business of their unemployment costs, so they have to lay off more people.
They're concerned, though, that the money that would be saved by the companies not paying as much unemployment insurance or tax would stay with the company and not go to creating more jobs.
My experience with business people is business people want to grow businesses. So if they have more capital, if their costs come down, they're either going to invest in new capital equipment, or they're going to invest in new employees and continue to build their businesses. Go ahead, Steve.
About the civil rights restoration change, which is
Absolutely.
Is a significant change in policy. And the criticism that's coming from certain quarters is that it was rushed. There wasn't sufficient time for people to review. Even Adam Putnam was saying he didn't have very much time to read the rule. What is your response?
Well, as you know, it's the clemency board's decision to decide what these are. We listen to public comment, and it's something that we'll always be reviewing to make sure that we're fair to the citizens of the state. But I'm very comfortable that the rules that we put out are the right.
Why did you feel the need to do that so soon?
I think that I believe that part of my job is to, when I get comfortable with the decision, to go forward and announce the decision and start down the path.
Governor, Beth Flansbaum, Tallahassee, a mayor in Tamarack, are you aware of that arrest today and your thoughts on it and what you might do from here going forward?
I just heard about it just before I came in, and it's so I don't know enough about it to have a fair comment. So, but I heard about it.
You say the changes in the clemency law is a step forward in rights for whom? It's more stringent on the convicted felons.
Well, it's look, if you are a convicted felon, part of what you did is you lost your rights, and so you ought to, there ought to be a process if you're going to get those rights back, and I think it's fair to the rest of the citizens of the state, and they'll see a process that they know will work.
Governor, Ash Williams just told you that things are doing very well with the state retirement system. Does that decrease the urgency of having state employees kick in 5% of their salary to help buttress that?
No, the way I look at that is that I'm focused on the long-term viability of the pension plan. Our pension plan is still underfunded. But on top of that, if you go and look at most taxpayers in the state that don't work for government, they don't have a pension plan. If they have a retirement plan, it's a defined contribution plan, and often their employer doesn't participate at all. So I feel very comfortable that asking I mean, these things. One, that government workers ought to contribute 5%. They shouldn't be able to retire and continue to or keep working and then get the retirement. We need to fix the special classes. So I'm very comfortable that we ought to be doing those things.
Mr. Governor, can you
Yes, sir.
give the main points on the clemency board and what you all changed this afternoon?
Well, the best is just it's best is I give it to you to read. I'd say it a little bit wrong.
Governor, in South Florida, we're obviously very concerned to take a very close look at DCF, given the tragic cases that we've had with children there. How did you justify the $178 million in proposed cuts and the 1,849 possible layoffs that are proposed?
Well, like every family in this state, everybody had to tighten their belts. And so one thing that state government needs to do is tighten its belt, have very measurable goals on everything we're doing, look at how we're spending our money, and we've got to figure out how to be more effective with less money.
You said in the State of the State speech last night, you said it before, that you want Florida to be a national model for job creation.
Right.
Why is that important? Why is it important that Florida be a model for the country?
Why? Because I believe this is the greatest state in the nation. Everything I've ever tried to do in my life is to try to be the best at it. I know that the two things that are most important to every family and every person is, because it impacted my life, is one, the opportunity to get a great education, and two, the opportunity to get to work. Those things change your life. And so if we're going to make this the best place to live, work, and play, it's going to be tied to both education and jobs. So I'm focused, those are the two biggest things. If I can accomplish while I'm governor those two things, then I'll feel very good.
Governor, this morning,
You want to finish? Go ahead. Say it again.
A number of other first-term Republican governors have taken aim at a lot of Obama policies, healthcare, high-speed rail. You know the list. My question is what you think about that. Are you glad about the progress you're making? To make 2012 a little bit more difficult for President Obama.
Well, my focus is not on the presidential elections, but my focus is what's good for the citizens of Florida. So, step one, Obamacare is it's a disaster for patients. It's a job killer, a big job killer, because companies can't afford it. Three, as taxpayers, we can't afford it. I've already given you my position on high-speed rail. So, I mean, the things that I'm doing is what's best for the citizens of Florida.
Governor,
Sure.
an administrative law judge yesterday put an end to the dispute in the prescription drug database, and another $1 million was contributed to the private foundation to get it running. Your agency, the Department of Health, is responsible for that contract. Can you tell me what you're going to do with it?
Sure. Well, as you know, the pill mill, that issue is a big issue in this state, and so it's something we have to deal with and we have to fix. It's devastating to a lot of people. So I know that the House has a proposal. The Senate's coming out with something, is my understanding. There's the company that's offered to pay, I think, for possibly 2 years of the cost. The things that I'm concerned about is I want to work with the legislature to figure out the right way of doing this, because we've got to we've got to deal with the issue. But with regard to the database, I've got two concerns. One, privacy issue. If the database gets breached, people have access to, the average Floridian's health information. That's one. And two, I don't want to be participating in things that only get funded for a very short period of time, and then the expectation is the state's going to pick up the funding.
But your agency, that is a contract that it's a contract that your agency has. Are you going to move forward with it? How is it going to be handled?
Sure. We're going to work with the legislature, because I know there's other proposals out there, and we're going to work with the legislature to find out the right approach.
Governor, this morning you talked about insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Big one presentation about insurance. You have not yet, as far as I know, made any formal presentations yourself. Where are you at?
With regard to citizens?
Well, regards to citizens and other things. And so are you going to embrace or support some of the legislation that's already out there, or are you going to come out with your own proposal? Sure.
As you know, we put some information out in the campaign, and we are working with the House and the Senate on how you deal with it. And we've got to look at things. We've got to look at all the things that we can do that help drive down either the cost, the existing cost of property insurance or the growth rate, one or the other, hopefully both. So we're looking at things, whether it's how long somebody should have to file a claim. We've got to deal with the sinkhole issue. We've got to deal with how much risk can we take as taxpayers in the state with regard to the size of citizen. So we're working with the House and the Senate to come up with something that will deal with all those issues, because it's a big problem in the state.
Two more questions, guys, two more.
To that point on the insurance, you're asking citizens to make a lot of sacrifices this year. Any changes to citizens will probably raise insurance rates. You talked about the unemployment tax cuts, benefit cuts, pay cuts to state workers. Can you talk about you asking citizens to make a considerable sacrifice to help businesses?
Well, I mean, I think what I'm doing is doing exactly what I said last night. There's a lot of cans that have been kicked down the road that are piling up in front of us that people haven't solved. Citizens is something that we should not be in this position. Pension plan, we should not have a pension plan that the recipients of that pension plan, people don't participate in. We should have a pension plan that over time we can see is going to be fully funded. If you look at the things that we're dealing with, we're going to make the tough choices. We're going to make sure this is a state that people feel very comfortable that they know exactly where the government's going. It's going to be a state that continues to be a no income tax state. We're a right to work state. We got the great weather, great beaches. We've got so many opportunities with the expansion of the Panama Canal, the expansion of the economies of Central and South America. But we've got to go piece by piece, whether it's lawsuit reform or eliminating business tax. We've got to make sure this is the best place to do business. And so I'm going to make the tough choices. I hope the legislature will do the same thing. I believe they will, because long term it's best for our citizens.
Given what you heard about the SBA,
Go ahead, Zoe.
given what you heard about the FRS and the SBA, was your criticism of the Florida retirement system and how it was handled, was that over the top, and was it fallacious last year during the campaign?
I'm very comfortable with the things I talked about in the campaign. Thank you very much. Have a great day.